Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:02. Some motion to open the meeting.
So motion.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. So we're going to approval of the meeting minutes
Yep.
of September 7th.
So motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we're going to, is Dehullah's here for the bond reduction?
Sorry, they're not here for the reduction, but there is information in your packet, and I don't believe they intend to show this evening, since it's pretty straightforward.
All right, so the first order of business would be a bond reduction on Oakland Terrace for Dehullah Homes. The reduction estimate from TEC, the developer's looking to decrease from 115.5 to 68,780.
Make a motion to do the bond reduction to.
No, so
Go ahead.
I would just say, I would ask they've met all the criteria and TEC's approved.
TEC went out to the site, they took a look at all of the remaining items, and still kept the contingency in place.
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll make a motion to, do we need a motion? Bob?
Yeah, I make a motion to do a bond reduction to recommend it to 68,780.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor to decrease from 115.5 to 68,780?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
okay, so motion. Next order of business, I'm gonna jump a little bit. I'm the A&R on 929, 931 Salem Street, and Rebecca can give us an update. This should be a simple,
So the applicant has made the changes as requested on the Mylar here tonight. I did reach out to the town planner in Georgetown, and he specifically stated that there are no outstanding concerns with the subject plans. The applicant is inscribing a qualifying note below the signature block, which essentially leaves the lot non-buildable, or excuse me, the buildability of each lot, the jurisdiction of the building inspector, as well as the inspector determining whether the lot meets minimum lot size and frontage. As with all A&R plans and the planning board's endorsement of same, the endorsement is only for recording and conveyance purposes, not for determining compliance with zoning or buildability. The caveat being an A&R plan must include one of the three requisite notes citing that endorsement by the planning board does not constitute compliance with zoning. The Georgetown Planning Board is expected to endorse the subject A&R plan this Wednesday night.
any comments or questions?
Did they, there's only two things we asked them to put on the plan, was it? See what that is. Thanks, Rebecca, I didn't see that over there.
Wasn't there a circle question?
It was just a circle, move
There's a circle on the driveway, I think, that was it.
Want to throw a plan down here, Wally, please? Thanks.
That's all it was.
Well, still,
It's still over the line, right?
but if you,
If they move it into Groveland, it doesn't matter that it's in the,
as long as you meet the setbacks, the
Right.
circle kind of gives you an
this
idea.
is the setback line right here, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that, isn't that gonna be,
They can still build out of the envelope of the circle, and I think Sam Joslin has he has discovery on that. Is that in the packet on the circle?
Who are we talking about? This one. Off of Hampshire, I believe. Yeah, thanks. Off of Hampshire Road, coming in, we're gonna do an A&R. I mean, the driveway and a circle.
Me, as long as you meet the setbacks.
Yeah.
Where's the property?
No, it's here. Do you guys have the plan with either of those on it?
I got the same plan you do.
does not need to be within the setbacks,
That's the old one.
okay?
You got a new plan?
No, that's the new one.
Do you have the circle and the driveway and the?
Oh, but you wanted it in the Georgetown. I sent you a PDF. I don't know if I sent you the mile.
Oh, was
I
that,
was told that you weren't gonna hear it today, so
okay.
Surprise, surprise.
So this look, that's why it looks the same?
I do have it at home. If I get it, if not, you can bring it back to you.
You can continue it to
Got
another
a ruling
day.
from San Jostle here that as long as the circle meets the setbacks, it's okay anyhow, so.
Yeah, we just gotta see it to sign it and,
Do you have a copy of that plan, by any
Yes.
chance? So we can have a look at a small one, so you don't have to run?
Yep.
I do have a plan with the house, I don't have the house on it, I have the house and driveway on it.
No, that one doesn't.
yeah, that's,
No.
no, this doesn't have anything.
Yeah, that's the one with
You have that with you?
I have it in the house.
Oh.
Right, I can get it.
Oh, at the
No,
house. I
that's
got it.
all right.
Okay.
I made the Mylar, but I was told not to bring them, so.
It has to be within the lot lines,
Yep.
not the setback lines.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
It's 80% of them.
yeah.
So this is just a single home and a piece of property.
Very
Yeah, it's on an
confusing.
A&R, yeah.
This is
And we just, because
clarity.
it's
Like, why
on
would
two
it-
towns, it's
yeah,
Georgetown
why
and
would it
Groveland.
build
As
so
long as you
yes,
meet the
and
setbacks, and
Just
you
do
can
the
build
Groveland
outside
regs,
of
which is the
this,
circle
it
in the
doesn't really
back.
matter.
That's the only thing
As
that
long
was
as you guys
missing.
are
Some lots are long.
It's good.
Right.
Good to go.
Yeah, and then Georgetown does their thing, that's what she was just reading, Georgetown
Georgetown's
does that.
not like a 330-foot building, that's certainly doesn't work at all.
Attention.
Oh, okay.
On 88 square
That's right.
feet, you know,
But it
88
looks pretty
feet of
straightforward.
building.
Yeah, well, not this plan, but the other one,
Right,
yeah.
right.
This was this was the previous plan, we asked to
Right.
add stuff to, so.
As a matter of fact, I've got it myself.
Say again?
A and R,
Yeah,
just says, well,
I'm sorry?
just so trying to learn the language.
Oh, yeah, A&R, approval not required under the subdivision controller. It's required under Mass General. law.
Gotcha. I would say though, does anybody have any public comment on this A&R? Is anybody here for that?
Anybody else want
I have one.
it? Does Wally?
Does anybody have any comment?
I don't think Wally's here.
Oh, yeah, let me- nobody's here to talk about 929? Oh, you didn't know if there was any public out there?
I have the Mylar, but I didn't bring it.
Yeah, that's the same.
Is that Sam's letter?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yep. Yeah, so you have it. Yeah.
I asked for clarity.
What's that?
I can call my wife and have her. 50 minutes.
If you want the Mylar signed,
Who's Samuel L. Johnson?
but Rebecca's
Samuel
gonna pull the,
Johnson.
Oh, he's building inspector.
That's what this letter's about.
Okay.
Yes. Which is, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they work. Nobody's gonna see it. Nobody's gonna see it. About the- I had the one at work, and marked it all off. That's it.
yeah. Did you see that letter?
Yeah.
Fire department.
I didn't recognize it.
Oh, no, that's from St. John's.
Yeah.
That's the building circle. But there's also a letter from fire department. This is, they're okay with road extension.
This,
Thank you.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That's better, huh, Wally?
Yep.
You got the driveway,
Got the
pushed
driveway.
everything back, yeah?
Yeah, don't have the circle, but I got the note here, but.
I don't see the circle, but that's okay. They
The
pushed
circle's right
everything
there.
back. Oh, yeah, it is, the circle is
Yeah,
there.
the circle's there.
Looking
Dotted line.
on the wrong page.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's,
Top right.
it's in the shade.
Oh, okay,
Right
thank
in
you.
the, shows the house in the
Oh, yeah, I
circle
got
and
it, okay.
everything. Yep.
Yeah, way up in the corner, got it, thank you.
All right, so does anybody from the board have any questions on this A&R plan?
No. For me.
All right, let's, somebody want to put a motion
I
for
make a
approval?
motion to approve, the A and R for,
929.
929, 931 Salem?
931 Salem Street.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you guys are all set. I think we're gonna need the Mylar at some point.
Yeah,
to-
you have to get a Mylar.
Alex, bringing it down.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
thank you, Rebecca. Next up, definitive subdivision of King Meadow Farm, Katy Lane, King Meadow Development. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81T, Town of Groveland Subdivision Rules and Regulations, and Article 14 of the Groveland General Bylaws, to hear the application requesting approval of a 9-lot subdivision plan associated with stormwater management and land disturbance permit. The site is located in residential R2 zoning district. The proposed subdivision is located on King Street, Groveland, Assessors Map 26, Parcel 13, Map 26, Parcel 13F. Okay,
Motion open the hearing?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have a packet.
Yeah.
Did everyone have a chance to look through the drafted decision, and if there's any questions?
Yeah, you just want to do the, you want to vote the waivers independently, or how do you want to carry that?
I don't know, before we start with that, we also have a letter from the abutters.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody's read that. You read that?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Jim, you okay with this?
Yeah. That's
And,
fine. I like hearing the concerns.
So we're gonna we'll open the meeting to the public for public
Oh, yeah,
comment.
most certainly. Yep,
Does
we wanna
anybody-
hear from them.
Public comment? Please state your name, address. Name and address, please.
Paul Finch,
And we're gonna
18 King Street.
just, also gonna kind of limit this to 3 minutes a person, if we can do that.
That's fine.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My comment here tonight is regarding a report issued by Mark Jacobs on June 8, 2020, where in his report, he had a paragraph regarding wet flags A1 through A4 and flag series C on the Fiore property, that's lot 12, received cursory field investigation, no subsequent investigation regarding the timing of potential alterations as it relates to the inception of the MWPR or local wetland bylaw. Similarly, the stream depicted on lot 12, which drains the irrigation pond, also appears to be altered, and the origins of the irrigation pond are unclear. The GCC may wish to have these areas investigated pursuant to an enforcement order. Keep in mind that these investigations could conceivably result in findings which have ramifications for proposed subdivision lots 5 and 6. As of right now, the property for Lot 12 is under investigation. It's with the Massachusetts DEP, and investigation is ongoing. Given that's occurring, the abutters feel that there's still too much in play here, and the ramifications of a result and decision by the Mass DEP would adversely affect what is in front of us today for the number of housing units proposed and also the road length. So we ask you to consider what you have in front of you with the signed signatures of the abutters, and there's quite a few, all of them, where we are not saying don't develop the land. What we're saying is keep to the regs, keep to the 750-foot road length, and because that's the regulation. If you go over that, why do you have a regulation to begin with? Why don't you rephrase it to say 750 feet, but negotiable? We think you meant 750 feet. Stay with 750 feet, total length. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I might be a few minutes before, longer than 3 minutes, sorry. Denise.
Try to keep it to 3 minutes if we could.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Denise Kinch from 118 King Street, and I'm representing the Wetlands Awesome Community Action Group. Since the onset of the proposed development, these three developers have had total disregard for the residents of this town, the bylaws that were created for the safety reasons. When residents went to the town clerk office and asked for copies, they were told, no, take a picture with your cell phone. Only after a few weeks of speaking with the state did we find out that we actually could have some actual plans. They came in with a 900-plus foot roadway and cut corners on every level. They have consistently been untruthful and avoiding the actual truth, refused to supply accurate information, and changed the story at every meeting, and made threats to the board members as well as neighborhood. They have bullied us all. We all on King Street now have cameras at their behavior. They have been reported to the police, and we've asked the police not to do anything because it would further enhance the bullying. Never once was the neighborhood or abutters treated respectfully by these people. The 106 lawyer stated at the last meeting, I believe, that there were 5 or 6 other waivers of the 750-foot roadway. None were on wetlands. They were a different situation completely. Let's just look at some of the things. At the original plans included property from 104 King Street. When it questioned about who owned the parcels, they said that they bought it and that a copy of the transaction was in the mail. That was a lie. They never bought it. The developers eventually said eventually they would hope to continue to build on 104 property. They never had a PNS on that property. They never stated it was under a Zone 2 aquifer protection. They said, well, it's not a Zone 2, it's a Zone 3. That was not still on the plans, it never says Zone 3. When questioned by both the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission, they got aggressive, saying things like, forget it, we'll just put low-income housing down there. When they were told that they would have to start the plans over again, they said, well, never mind, we'll just stick with this. Another meeting when they were questioned who was going to care with all these different drainage ponds and pools, their lawyer said it was going to be a homeowners association that would pay for all that and maintain all that so that the town would not be responsible. When discussing the water source, they said they would forget about the King Street water pipe. We'll just put in the wells. When one of the board members said to them, well, we have to change the plans because it has to be different when you have a well and septic systems. They continued to threaten us. They threatened board members. They swore at board members. They swore at town members during meetings. Chairman Danforth never once said anything when they called you names. They called other people's names. It was never called into play. Last week, or last meeting, when we were here, there were maps on the tables. We took them. One of their gang members came up to us, grabbed them from us, and said, these are never for you to see. Mr. Danforth said to the lawyer who was with us, "Be quiet or you're going to be thrown out of this
Do
meeting."
not use my name again, okay? Do not bring me personally into this.
You did this.
I did not do this,
All right,
okay?
Okay.
let's call to order,
So-
please. Let's just stay on tack.
Okay. A board member,
You know, I'm a
Said-
volunteer here.
a board member said, "Don't say that to him, or you're all going to be thrown out of this meeting." What the lawyer said to one of their gang here was, that was childish. He did not call him any names. He did not swear at him, as they have done to us and you. And we've done everything we've asked to. They've done everything. They have done everything except what was asked for. They came in here with an extremely long road. They never intended on listening to anything. I have a whole lot of more things to say, but it doesn't even matter. We're asking you to keep the road at 750 feet. It does not enhance the town in any way to make it longer than that. That's one of the requirements, I believe, of a waiver. They had to put the water pipe in King Street no matter what, because they needed hydrants. The people on King Street don't have brown water. We don't complain about that. We all know it's the oldest pipe in town, but we're one of the few areas that don't have brown water. So we've never complained about it. Leave the pipe, we don't care. We just want the land to be taken care of. Once you destroy a natural resource, no amount of money can ever repair it. When the King Street culvert washes out, who's going to take care of it? We've already seen what happened in the last rainstorm. We sent the planning board pictures. Because of the destruction of the normal flow of the wetlands that's already been done back there, it washed out the whole river. What's going to happen when we actually have all these houses, all that stormwater, all the destroyed wetlands going into our pond?
We've already have a plan in place.
Okay,
And there's already, so let me speak, if it's okay with you. There's already stormwater management in place. There's no infrastructure in there yet. There's no catch bases.
Right.
There's no road. There's no grading. There's been nothing done.
right.
So
But
I
there-
think, and I can speak educationally, speaking on the way the stormwater management works, it will be an improvement. It
Well,
will not flood the pond.
Well, the destruction that's been done on the properties back there is already flooding the pond and the wetlands.
What's the destruction that's been done?
The destruction that's been done, that's under investigation by the DEP.
And that's going to be a civil matter that, I mean, we can't
Well,
get
no,
involved
it's-
in that.
Well,
And the other
except,
comment that I would make is, I've heard all this before, and Rebecca has given you everything that
Right.
you've needed.
Absolutely.
So the planner has given you email after email,
absolutely.
okay, even if it doesn't
We're
matter.
not saying you haven't given it to us.
No, no, no. I'm also saying plans, when you've asked for plans, we've given you plans, every single step of the way,
Absolutely.
commented, so,
And answered all our questions all the
Okay.
time.
All right.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
just wanna put that on record.
We're not complaining about the planning board at all. We're complaining about the behavior and the abuse that's received by the abutters and the members on King Street.
there
And
was a
the-
heated debate in the first meeting, and it never happened again with the planning board.
Not in the meetings. This is on everyday life.
Again, I haven't seen it, it's civil.
Right.
You've got reports to the police, we can't do anything as a board.
We
Okay,
discussed this last time, it's the police matter that's gonna come down and rectify it. It's not the planning board's decision.
right. Absolutely. We're just
you.
asking you to follow the
understand.
bylaw. That's all.
And we hear what you're saying, and as a board and as residents of Groveland, we feel for you. But the bottom line is we can't do much for you in that regards. This is a police issue.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not. I'm talking about the
No, I
extension.
understand what you're saying.
Oh, we
And
know it's a
again,
police
we
issue.
feel your pain,
Thank you.
but for a lot of things, our hands are tied. We cannot
I know.
get involved with that.
I
So
understand.
we're here to talk about the 750 in the wetlands.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, so that's,
Everything else above that, our hands are tied.
I understand that.
Thank you.
I just would like you to know what we're living with already on a
Don't
day-to-day
doubt,
basis.
I don't doubt that at all. Don't doubt that at all.
We just, once a natural resource is gone, it's never, no amount of money can ever bring it back. And this feeds our wells.
So this lawsuit that you refer to in the wetlands,
The what? Oh, the DEP. I don't
Yes.
really,
That's conservation.
That's
That's
conservation.
conservation. We
But
can't,
that
don't-
affects lots
Line.
5 and 6 according to, I think it was Mark Jacobs' peer review. And he said you may want to have that resolved. And we can give that, we have a copy of it here, we can give it to Rebecca, the actual paragraph that states that. I'm sure you have it anyway.
Was that current?
The Mark Jacobs peer reviewer is from the Conservation Commission as part of the RDA filing originally, I believe, the
Okay.
first filing last year, correct?
It was reviewed by DEP and sidewalk, and they reviewed the line.
No, they're under investigation for enforcement.
That's at 104, not at 106, different property, different.
So, yeah, which?
have any
that does make
It's
a
on
documentation?
104 property when the 104 property was involved in the original plans for the development at 106.
There's something to do with 106 today.
It does have something to do with 106.
We-
Okay, explain
There-
how.
For clarification purposes, there is a review, but it is on 104 King Street. It is not on 106 King Street.
On the area that Mark Jacobs was discussing.
so we have no,
Well, DEP's not our bag anyway, but it's.
no, we have no cause on
But
104.
if
This
there's
is
a-
106.
Yeah, but 106 is the actual parcel.
Right, but
Yeah.
again, it was the original plan when 104 was part of it.
Oh, okay, so they changed that
So
plan.
they changed
Right.
that plan.
Yeah, so they changed the plan. But has DEP issued a final?
No, they're still under investigation for 3 areas of 104.
Okay, and what
So-
about 106?
I mean, no, 106, no.
Okay. So Rebecca, I didn't read too far down on a DEP thing, because investigation, is that referenced at all in
Nope.
here?
No, because it's
104.
not on the subject property.
Okay, but if it's 2 properties,
So the decision that that I've drafted before you this evening only partakes to the parcel that was filed for a definitive subdivision. It does not reference any abutting property owners or any enforcement and/or filings with abutting property owners.
okay, not abutting, but is there a 106 DEP at all?
Well, technically, 106 King has a house on it right now.
Yeah,
Has
so I'm
that
trying
one
to,
house,
I'm trying to see,
replacement
do we
house.
have 2 different DEP investigations, or do we just have one?
No, there's
They just
just
have the
one
ongoing
DEP
104.
investigation at this moment,
Just the one
on
for
104.
104, but not for 106?
Right,
Okay, so that's a different parcel, though.
except that when it was stated, it was because,
Oh, because they made a mistake on when they
no,
did that.
they didn't make the mistake. There were
Well, the
2
original filing had a lot, and then they took it out. So they
Had
didn't
2 lots,
revise
yes.
the plan, yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan had to be revised before it went in.
Right.
Okay, that's the mistake.
Okay.
They didn't take it off the plan and refile it. Okay,
So we would just like you to protect our natural resources, and there's no benefit to the town to extend this roadway. And that's all. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll speak on the road link, because I'm the only one here. that-
Well, I want to see the, do we have a copy of the
Butters,
plan
yeah.
right now, too? Do we have a copy of the plan?
The final plan, yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right, thanks. All right, in case we have any questions. No, I'm gonna flip. Paul, you have any questions, or?
Well, yeah, I just want to speak on the 750, please. That's it.
Yep, go ahead.
So, for those that are unfamiliar, or just a little foggy on the 750 road length and where that came from, okay, it wasn't anything that was a snap decision, it's been there for a couple of decades. So in the town of Groveland at the time, we had a few subdivisions come through, and I actually live on one of them, the Rocky 1, 2, and 3. And the roads just kept going with no way out. And at the time, there was a concern with, should there be a problem, a tree come down, power lines come down, et cetera. There was no other way out. So we embarked the planning board with Camet Engineering, and we went through about 2 years of investigation on what was the proper road length in town of Groveland, which included the affordable housing that was tied in with it too, how many lots, and included all the restrictions and zoning on such a said subdivision. And we came up with 750 feet being an ample single road subdivision for everything from sidewalks to access, emergency egress, how would it look as a presentation, and then included other things then too, which have been since changed, which do affect this subdivision, where the circles, we had circles that were in there and had to be outside the setbacks. And then we had another zoning change that came into play also, which was 3035, I believe it was. So the 750 road length was from the beginning of the road to the end of the road. And that was the interpretation. When I wrote that with my fellow board members decades ago, we had an interpretation out on it, what it was for and what the actual road length was. And somehow it got, over the years, a little bit misinterpreted. And there were other subdivisions that were approved with different road lengths on that. I didn't endorse either of those, okay? However, each subdivision should fly on its own merits, because no parcel of land in town is the same. It's just not. And so each one is a different set. So, you know, trying to create a precedent based upon different parcels at different times, with even different thought processes sometimes, it doesn't hold up. Okay, it should be an individual as it goes. But the 750 road length was set up on purpose to be the max road length without another way out. And there's several examples of that in town, where the road was extended past 750 feet, but they had another way out, just in case. And I'm not sure if that was possible here. I know we kind of talked about it once, but I don't know where that came about.
I think the plan is done.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So the 750 road length, again, is from the beginning to the end. Not to the center of the cul-de-sac, to the actual end of the road length. That's where it is. That's always been that way. That is the regulation. Now, if the board wants to change it at another time, or the town feels that it needs to be changed, I think you made a comment about that, okay, well, it's a living document. We have changed things along the way. But as it stands today, it's 750 feet, and that's what it is in the regulation. But I just wanted everybody to know that how that came about, how long it's been there, and why it's there, okay, and what has happened over the town's history as we go forward. So that's really all I wanted to say on that.
Any other board members will comment?
I think what you say is apropos, would you say? It makes a lot of sense, but like you said, this is a living document. I personally would like to see us reevaluate that 750.
Yeah, we can do it another time, sure. Just like all the other regs.
Exactly. That may apply, I may not apply to this particular plan, but that's good insight to know how it originated and where we're at today. So thank you for your time and your efforts.
Most welcome.
Okay, so,
Hi, I didn't know if any comments were still open. I thought I'd.
what's your name?
It's okay?
Go
All right.
ahead.
I'm Jennifer Trupner. I'm a member of Wetlands Awesome, and I just have some confusion about the DEP report.
Excuse me.
And what's our address?
Your address, please?
Oh, it is 4 West Hadley Road in Merrimack.
Yeah, Merrimack.
I can't speak even though I'm a member concerned about the wetland.
You're
I
not a
just
resident
want
of Groveland?
You're not a
clarification.
resident. of
You're not a
Groveland.
resident of
Sorry.
Groveland?
Okay.
Think about that. Does that wetland flow in there? Into Merrimack?
From Merrimack? No.
Okay.
King Street's high.
Yeah, no, I'm way down, not right away.
Close to West Newbury at some point.
Yeah.
All right, so we have comments from the fire department. Rebecca, do you want to read the fire chief's comments?
The comments were issued back when we originally got the department comments. They are referenced in the decision where Chief Valentine and Lieutenant Belfori state that the Groveland Fire Department has reviewed the submitted plans for King Meadow Development and have no concerns over the length of the road for the proposed subdivision. There will be hydrants located within the subdivision, as well as replacing and upsize the water main and hydrants from intersection of Center Street to the area of 106 King Street. This will increase the volume of water for us in the event we need to utilize the hydrants there. There will also be adequate access provided for our fire apparatus in the subdivision.
Thank you. Any other comment? We go through the draft?
On this, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the fire chief did say that, and I spoke with him myself, as well as the other board members, that it's, the road link isn't his bailing work, but he does want the hydrants and the pressure.
Any other board members, comments for, against?
The other thing I'm concerned about, they talk about this wetland, okay? And I don't know, actually, the distance between the 750 and the new number and the actual effect. So if one of the developers could just speak on that, just to reassure us that there is any, if not any, violation of wetlands that the neighbors speak about.
Wetlands is conservation.
Okay.
So, you know, on the planning aspect, Bill, you want to talk about the road length, the total road length? We can talk about the wetlands, but we're not conservation.
Okay.
You can speak, but we also want a total of the road length as well.
Okay. I'll answer the wetland question first, just because there seems to be a little confusion. We have not impacting any wetlands whatsoever. There's no filling of wetlands involved in this project. It's just buffer work, which is allowable under the regulations, under the DEP guidelines, and under the town bylaw guidelines. So the roadway itself impacts no wetland areas in terms of filling wetlands at all. We have drainage that's down in the low areas near the wetlands, but that's usually where they are located, because water has to flow downhill, so.
Okay.
And I believe they're upland. So I believe the abutters are all up about 10 feet.
Yeah,
If you look at,
when we took the walkthrough, we noticed that, the
Mhm.
high grounds.
if you look at the numbers.
Okay.
The length of the road is 825 feet to the center.
What about to the end?
To the end, you add 65 feet, it would be 890. To the end of the right-of-way, going to the actual roadway, it's another 10 feet less, so, because the cul-de-sac's 55 feet long. So it'll be 880 feet to the end of the roadway itself, if you go straight through to the end, or 890 if you go to the right-of-way.
So like 900 feet?
890.
890. Yeah.
Does that cover your, that's end to end?
Yeah, that's,
That's what you
yeah,
want?
that's mentioned in 2 of the regs that we even reference in here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got 150 feet open.
Okay. So they're covered on that aspect.
Well, they're beyond 750, yeah.
Right.
Now we know exactly.
Now we know exactly what the,
Yeah.
I will also, I think it's confusing. Even though it says the way it says that in the regulations, I have seen roads in Groveland measured different ways. I've seen it to the center.
I'm sorry,
I've seen roadway measurements on plans other engineers have prepared and presented to town and have been approved, measured different ways. I've seen it measured at
gonna
the
try to
beginning,
put a
I've
lid
seen it
on
to the
that,
center, and I've seen it to the end. So it really is a confusing way it's worded, and it's confusing the way it's applied, in my opinion. That's just
I
my
will
personal-
say that Wally's right, we should have a set measurement from the beginning to the end for
Yeah, it's
now on,
actually in-
moving forward.
And we will address this in the future.
Because and here's what happened, just a fun fact, if you want to call it that. When I wrote this regulation with the board and we had to speak on it, the actual section of the law that changed it because it was 1,200 down to 750. Okay, we actually had an intent paragraph. I always wrote that on all the regulations that we were trying to change, just so there'd be no confusion in the future. And somehow that, through board changes and time, that paragraph kind of got lost in translation. So it's noted, we are going to put an end to that. But if you look at, if this is the correct sentence on 4.3, it says, the cul-de-sac streets and their dimensions, if any, not longer than 750 feet from their origin to the furthest point. And I think that might be the only place where it says that specifically. On that, other than the intent that we had in the reg.
Yeah, I'd like to make one more comment, just because, again, I think it is a little confusing. I know it's, intentions to write it a certain way were admirable, but I don't think it's written really as clearly as you think it is. It does say 750 feet to the end, then it says you must have a cul-de-sac at the end of the road. So that would mean 750 feet to the end of the road plus a cul-de-sac. So where do you apply the cul-de-sac? At the end of the road or 60 feet below it, before it? That's a good question that I've always asked. I don't understand. We know it's written, I don't know how to answer that. That's why
Yeah.
I called it the 45%.
Yeah, I wish we had, if I find these things, we'll bring them out later for discussion on a change, but we actually had plans done on poster boards with different road links on them, and we had some verbiage with it when we were doing this a couple decades ago. And I think it might have been in '05, looking at some of the old notes. And so it explained it in that well. But point taken, but it is 750 feet from the beginning to the end.
I had that conclusion, and then I see there's difference in some engineers who present it differently.
And I've seen it, it's
It's been approved, but that's
Well,
not.
I'm not disagreeing
Graham,
on that.
Billis,
Those two I didn't, yeah.
they're there,
I didn't,
and they've given the town nothing.
And that's where, unfortunately, each subdivision goes by its own
That's right,
lands
it's a living
and
document.
rises and falls to its own merits based on the tract of land. So, and the other thing that changed on this plan that did make it different is the circles within the setback. So that changed a little bit too, which
They all meet
made
the
the
regs?
original. No, I'm not saying it's not to the regs now. Okay, what I'm saying is that changed from the previous reg, and when we first saw this plan 20 years ago by the original owner, it was similar, but it was restricted out to about 8 lots max.
I don't think anything's ever been found on this one.
Yeah, Taylor Turbite did that with Port Engineering. And it was a year and a half of discussions and plans coming in. And then there was the horse farm idea.
Yeah,
that
but
was
now,
much later.
this is the document.
No,
that we have to
I
vote
understand
on.
that, but that's what made this plan
Don't want to go
different
back 20.
from the original, was that that changed. And when that changed, the look of the plan and the layout was different because the circles now could be put into the setbacks.
I had to go back 20, I might have had hair, and I was probably a lot thinner, but
There you weren't.
It would have been a lot easier too if Port Engineering just did that plan, because
I mean, there's no denying the fact that we've come a long way, and these
Yeah.
circles represent that. So the things that we've asked along the way, people have complied. And during every change of regulations, it has been for the better, and has been for the better of the town of Groveland. So as we sit here and we reevaluate every time that we want to do something, anytime we've ever asked of an engineer or a developer, they have met our challenges. And this appears that there's another one of those challenges that we've asked that they have gone above and done. Now, but again, what you were saying is a living thing, so,
Wally said it.
yeah, he did. He said it well.
We
Okay,
didn't
so-
write these things to be catched in stone.
Again, on the draft, do
Yeah.
we have, this is a pretty ironclad draft, I will say.
Yeah, I see a lot of the stuff in there that we talked about, the menu items.
Not going to read it, it's
No,
a
I get through
novel.
there. So what do you want, how did you want to do that? I addressed that earlier.
I think
Each waiver's got to get a vote.
each waiver's going to get a vote. I would start with a vote. I will, if there's any discussion, I will say on the waiver, if you're for or against it,
Yeah,
I'd say probably tell us the reason why.
yeah.
So I guess we'll open this for a vote on the waiver of the stone walls from fieldstone to a shea block concrete wall. Where needed, I believe it's 2 or 3 areas, one in the pond, 6-foot section of shea block. I think it's up in here, isn't it?
The stone
Bill?
wall or the wall?
Yeah, one of the stone walls is up.
It's a head wall on the first retention pond on the right.
Stone wall on the pond that's in between 9 and 8. Stone wall right between-
That's the one I was talking about, okay. So on the concrete block style wall.
Which is more secure and better for the atmosphere.
Correct.
Right, so that's why we're thinking yes.
So fieldstone, I would always, on an entranceway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stone,
Well, nothing prevents to put a thin facade over the block.
They have a finished base on them,
Yeah,
they-
the-
rustic stone. what's
Yeah.
the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, you definitely don't want it to fall down though. so
Right.
that's a-
But I don't think you can put a veneer on top of the wall.
I wouldn't-
No, I wouldn't want it.
yeah.
Exactly.
If you, if it has a design on it, you're good.
Correct.
It does.
It's kind of like what I have. I don't know if you've
Yep.
driven by and
Yep.
seen that.
No, we had to do that before for secure
Yeah.
areas and stuff, so we didn't have an issue with the wall. I don't have a problem in the back.
So it
I don't have
sounds
a
like-
problem with the back
No,
either,
yeah,
so-
I don't have a
Make a
problem with the
motion
wall
to
either.
approve the, Jake,
For the wall.
Motion for the waiver on the wall.
sorry.
Could you please reference the section in which you're addressing the waiver? If you look at the decision, it would be, for this particular one, I believe, if I'm correct, it would be section 70-5.10 and section 70-5.11, just for matters of clarity and in reference to the decision. Mr. Chair, please.
Mm-hmm. I kind of wish you numbered these pages, you could tell us that way.
They're in the top.
Yeah, help
It's
them out, will
page
ya?
number 4.
Just say page 10.
Exactly.
Page number
Page,
four.
page 4.
Page 4, actually.
5 point, right there,
Page 4.
Thanks, Jim.
right there.
Yeah. So I guess the motion's on the table for the draft decision of section 70-5.10 and section 70-511. Do you want me to read the,
Are you
Very
taking
good.
them motion, are you taking them individually, each waiver?
Yeah.
correct?
Okay, so then I would just motion to approve the waiver for section 70-5.10 and section 70-5.11 for the definitive subdivision plan labeled King Meadow Farm, Katy Lane.
And that waiver would be for the stone walls in the subdivision. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion that.
Sorry. A second?
Second it, whoever made it first, I don't know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jim, John, you going to abstain?
Yeah, I'm abstained from all of it, yeah.
Okay. And the waiver. What section is the waiver of the concrete?
510 and 511.
The prior page.
Yeah.
The bottom paragraph.
Section 70.5,
That's
sorry,
5.6.
70-5.6C.
Yeah, I didn't look at, I just read it and didn't look at the sections. So a waiver on section 70.5.6C for 106 King. And that would be a waiver for definitive subdivision, Katy Meadow Farm, Katy Lane, King Meadow Development. And that it's the waiver from concrete to PVC pipe.
I'll second that. If I'm not mistaken, they're gonna be enlarging the diameter of that pipe by a ½ inch or a quarter of an inch. Is that correct?
Yep, that's buried in sand.
More
I
safe
think it's a
skating.
betterment, that's definitely a betterment. The concrete will
Yeah.
just be
More
destroyed within
ergonomic.
7 to 11 years with a calcium
Better for the
chloride.
economy.
Yep.
Wise idea.
What's the flow difference on that?
There's almost no coefficient of friction on the plastic.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's switching to the plastic, but I was just wondering,
0.11 plastic and 0.13. Slightly different.
and how much increased flow can you get out of that, Joe? Is there a standard with that?
And anything that road will put out.
I know every other town is doing that. They're
Oh, this
taking
is-
all
we've been
concrete out of the regs.
I can't remember when, but I think we sleeved some concrete with plastic a long time ago.
Calculations are not very, what the size of pipes based on what the difference.
And Rennie, the road, Rennie he was okay with that, so.
Yeah, then I don't have an objection to that one.
Okay. Waiver for 70-4.3 G2, and that would be the big waiver, and that's the waiver for the 750-foot road length pertaining to definitive subdivision, King Meadow Farm, Katy Lane, King Meadow Development.
Well, I'm an obvious no on that.
Well, do you want to speak why?
Yeah. I believe that we do need to stick to the standard of 750 feet on this subdivision and others. One thing that did concern me a little bit was that it came out filed beyond the reg. It's a little backwards from my opinion. But I wrote that regulation with my board at the time, and there was a reason why we did it, and we spent a lot of time researching that in the town of Groveland. And as the reg stands right now, it's 750 feet, and I would like to stick with that regulation. Now, in the future, again, as mentioned before, any of our documents in the town of Groveland, the zoning bylaws, subdivision control law, they are living documents. And if in the future there's a petition to change that, well, we'll have that discussion then at that time and see where that goes. But I feel we should stick with the regulation. There was a lot of research that went into that. That's why it was in the regulation, and that's why it hasn't been changed in all these years. So that's my standing on that. And the same with the following, with the cul-de-sac. They go hand in hand with 4.3K.
I guess I will speak, I'm in favor for the 750 or better road length.
I'll second that.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
Yep.
12-inch main, be brought up King Street. 2 hydrants in the subdivision where there's only one required for 750 road length. The fire department, they have no problem with it. If everybody in that development well failed, you're going to want some kind of water, That water up King Street has been a low flow for years, and I think this will rectify it. This will bring better fire suppression up there, for God forbid if there's anything that ever happens in that development, and up on the top of King Street. So if they're gonna bring a 12-inch main up, and the chief's on board with it, and it all works, I'm in favor. So I'm a yes.
Are you, if you bring that up there, are you branching off, or are you sticking with wells for water?
How's it going on domestic water?
Oh, domestic water. Okay.
Everything's domestic.
Yeah.
Shall I speak?
Yes.
So my opinion is this. As far as I understand, we've had 4 waivers in the past for development, correct?
Multiple waivers.
That's correct. And none of them has ever come back to hurt us, correct? And most of them were for the good of the town. Is that correct?
I haven't been on the board long enough to.
Okay.
I would say that's not always true.
And
Okay.
we don't want a dissertation from Wally right now. Plus 27 years, so.
Yes, but you see where I'm getting at. So what I'm saying to you is, for the majority of the decisions that we've made, and every decision we've made to make it a waiver, we've gave it a lot of thought, and we've contemplated, and we've taken everybody's opinion seriously. So for the minimum amount of feet that I see that this developer is asking for, does not impede so much. And we talked about, that's why I brought up the wetlands purposely, because I know it's a major concern to the town. And they addressed that issue saying that the wetlands really are not impacted. If that's the case, then I'm okay with that. And that concerns me as well, to make sure that they're not impacting the wetlands. So, my decision is to allow the waiver only if, like you said, this is a living well, would you say, we have to readdress that 750, because as time progresses, we are no longer back 20 years ago, we are now in the future. So maybe now it's time to reevaluate our thought process on that number. And again, that was just an arbitrary number that you came up with.
No, it was not arbitrary at all. It was
Okay,
on the contrary.
it was, but the point is that you worked hard on it. You
Yeah, I
found
think
that
we
was the
spent
number.
probably 10,000 of engineering dollars.
Without saying, what I'm saying to you is today, and based on what you also said, that with the second hydrant, will now give more security to these good people of Groveland who'll be moving in here, to make them feel safe, or let the town know be safer, and for the contractors to be able to hear our concerns and to go ahead and address them, and address the neighbor and the abutters' concerns and make them happy, pleases me. So that being said, I'm willing to agree to the waiver at this point, but I'd like to address that 750 in the future,
Yeah,
please.
we'll clear it up.
We're gonna clear up the road length in the
Yeah, the road
future.
link issue. It'd be nice if we could find that stuff, and I bet you we can call, and Cam might have to pay a printing fee or something, and pull that old data up that we had, and you'll see why it was done like that, because we actually do have plans. So that's a future thing.
Bob?
No problem, just, I will, motion we accept.
Are you a yay or a nay for the road length?
Yay.
Okay, so we have 3 yays, 1 nay, 1 abstain. It passes. So motion to pass subdivision 106 King Street.
Mr. Chair, was there a motion on the floor for the waiver of section 70-4.3 G2 and section 70-4.3
May
K?
not.
So
One.
motioned to review that for the vote.
No,
In
we
case we
spoke.
missed that.
We missed it.
In case we missed it.
Okay, in case we missed it. In case we missed it.
Mr. Chairman, please,
I'm new.
if you would.
Okay.
I'll fly the motion for the vote on sections 74.3G and 74.3K, and I think you want to redo the vote. I'm a nay.
Are you motioning to deny the waiver, or are you motioning to?
He motioned to approve the waiver, and then he just went through the vote.
So do I have
I'm
a
a nay.
second? So then we would need a second on the motion. Actually, I'll fly the motion out there again. So a motion on section 70-4.3G, waiver on, motion on section 70-4.3K, and that is to increase the road length from 750 to 890 from total length from front to back. Okay? So I need a second.
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 Okay, again.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Wally?
Opposed?
Okay.
Nay.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
sorry. We got carried away in the discussion. We have any further? Anything else for the meeting? Rebecca?
Just for the next vote would be, on the actual definitive subdivision plan itself, and then all, vote to, approve the decision as drafted, and if there's any amendments that we may have. And that could be in one motion too.
You want to fly that motion,
Yeah, I'll
Wally?
fly that
That's-
motion, yep. And then I'll be a no, because,
You've already were a no, but you'll take
yeah, I'll still
on the
vote,
draft,
yeah.
you'll adopt the draft of the subdivision.
No,
I'll
no,
make
I'll
the
just,
motion
I'll stay as
together.
a, I'll stay as a nay, because it doesn't meet what I'm looking for, so.
Please make
You
the
have enough
mo-
votes.
Huh?
You got the votes.
Make the motion.
Okay. Motion to
Sorry.
approve the draft of the decision on 106 King Street, as written.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Brad? Aye. Wally?
Nay.
Okay. Do we need any more motions?
Close the hearing.
Endorse the plan, I think, right? Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I think to endorse the
plan.
plan
I'll
as
make a
presented.
motion to endorse the plan the way it's submitted.
Not endorse, approved.
Approve.
I'm sorry.
plan.
Approve the plan. The way it's submitted to the planning board.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Brad? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay. Okay. Plan flies, subdivision flies.
Yeah.
I make a motion to close the hearing on 106, oh, sorry, I gotta go back here, yeah. 106 King Street, Katy Lane.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have any unfinished business?
The only other thing is just an administrative item for 929, 931 Salem Street. At the last meeting, the board had voted to approve the aquifer special permit with conditions and the decision as amended. So those amendments included increased inspections to quarterly for the first year, then moved to biannual inspections indefinitely. Provide the building commissioner with a copy of the reports. TEC should review the testing reports as submitted. TEC to witness support and be given a 10-day notification. And those have been incorporated into the decision, so I just need a signature by all of you tonight. So no formal vote, but a
Just a-
formal action
Okay.
signature.
Yep.
Any new business? Announcements you'd like to make?
Hold on. We got,
I'm Mike Maroney, the builder for Party. I'm actually here to ask the board, you voted on the decision, and you're going to sign the decision tonight, but there's a 20-day appeal period. Once Rebecca signs, time clocks it in, okay,
Correct.
which doesn't allow us to start work until October 13th. Okay.
That's what you have to, you have to abide by that 21-day appeal.
Okay. All right.
So at your own risk.
So,
That would be on the,
I mean, they can start it themselves, but if something comes
Is
up.
this on the special?
this is on the special.
Yeah, you screwed up.
You shouldn't start.
Yeah.
okay. The issue is then I'm going to ask, and I'm not sure if this is the board to ask, but we're looking for, there's a November 1st moratorium from conservation on the plan. So I'm only going to have 10 days to finish the site work on that project.
That's something you'd have to go to the,
Conservation and see if
Conservation.
they'd waive it. I mean, 21 days appeal is a 21-day appeal.
Yep.
I'm not willing to waive that.
Okay.
I don't know if the board sees otherwise, any members of the board, or,
Speak with conservation, just get that on there, and talk to the zoning enforcement, but
Okay.
it's
All right.
always an at your risk, no matter what you do. with
yeah,
that.
and I don't think I would take that risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah. Motion adjourned?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you guys ask conservation for an extension of the November 1st? Good night, guys.
Nice to see you.